Yeah, good with that.
Cool.
So, welcome to the Life of Pi. Life of Pi. See, you got it wrong already. Welcome to the Life of Tri podcast. This episode is going to explore the impact of the coronavirus and the impact it's having on triathlon, specifically those competing in Ironman Wales 2020, which is the 10th race in this series. I'm joined tonight by two guys who I've trained with for a number of years. First, we have Rich Mansell, who before triathlon I knew from our local running club, the Village Vipers. Rich was known by me for his endurance running and has since taken up that passion into the long distance triathlon. Secondly, we have Darren Ware, who I've been riding with since about 2014, where we were part of a group of not so elite cyclists. We've gone under the banner of Tour de Gales. Each year we go on a 3-day cycle with a different location. It's all about beers, bikes and brins, and the brins element comes from that we're a group of friends who have come together and no one really knew each other's names at the beginning, so everyone just became Bryn. So with the intro out of the way, guys, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Good. Both I know signed up for Ironman Wales, but given the circumstances, it's a funny old time at the moment.
Yeah, it really is strange. I mean, it's one of those weird experiences in life, I suppose, where sometimes work might be a bit shit or home might be a bit shit, but at the moment it's just affecting every part of everyone's life. So it's kind of it's strange just trying to carry on as much as normally as you can. It's very, very surreal.
It's a funny one because, you know, if someone had said to you 6 months ago, even 4 months ago, or even 2 months ago, to be honest, because we're now in April, you know, there'll be total lockdown. You'll be limited to where you can physically go. So that includes running and cycling. All the pools will be closed. So training from a triathlon point of view is straight out the window. And Darren, I know for you that this was going to be sort of your first year in triathlon. And so, you know, how has it affected your mindset taking forward the training element?
Well, I started looking at the training early last year when I knew I was going to sign up for this. My weakest element would be the swimming. So the fact I can't get out, all the beaches are closed, all the pools are closed, is having a massive impact on my training program, which is not good. So even psychologically, then you're thinking, oh, you're always chasing, always going to be looking at chasing. You know, will I have enough time in the build up between now and September, or won't I? So it's a bit of a daunting task.
The fact you said that you're always chasing is, Rich, I don't know if you feel this as well. It's always that mindset, I think, of some athletes, or most athletes, where they miss a training session or through injury, or even if it was a night out on the beers with the lads and then they don't train the next day, you always feel you're playing catch up.
Yeah, I think two things are really important. One is consistency, and then it's kind of the build and building up towards your peak. And at the moment, the whole build up has been totally wrecked. So not just where we're at now, but every race. You know, I was lucky enough to be able to. I've done 2 races so far this season, but that might be it for the season. You know, everything else is now getting either cancelled or deferred till after what was supposed to be my A race.
Yeah.
So you've got
and was Ironman Wales your A race?
That was, yeah. It was going to be my A race for the year.
And to be honest, Ironman Wales is a nice race to have as your main focus because it's in September. You know you get if you get a good winter under your belt, and then you get a good 6 months of real training. It lends itself well. Whereas regards to some of the earlier Ironmans in the year, you having to train over the winter, which is quite difficult.
Yeah.
How was your training gone to date, though, Rich?
Up until end of Feb, I'd say it was going really well. I was at my lightest weight that I have been in 6 years, so that's a good start. So the winter training had gone well. Did a marathon in January. That was good, nice and steady. 4.5 hour marathon. Just building up, going really well. Consistent training. Swim was coming down. So I was looking. It'll be my third Ironman, and I was hoping for a PB. But if I do it, which is still a big if, I think it's the PB I'm already sensing is not going to be there, just because of the impact that the last 4 weeks have had. But then also we're not going to come out of this in the short term, so that knock-on effect. So it's pretty tough, really. You know.
And previously, you've done Ironman Wales and Ironman Hamburg, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I did Hamburg last year.
And so, do you generally feel then, because this would be a third race, that each time you've done an Ironman, it's built on the last, and there's improvements every time?
Yeah, I think you learn. Wales was in 2018, and I did my first triathlon 10 months before that. So I went from no triathlons to Ironman in 10 months. Did 14:45. Know so many areas I could improve. Then did Hamburg. My swims come on, but my cycling, that's where the gains is to be had. And as someone who's a runner by background, I was always confident with the run and the endurance. It was just being able to have the speed endurance on the bike is where I struggle.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about first triathlon to Ironman in 10 months, and I'm looking at Darren here because obviously we're using Zoom to record this. And Darren, am I right in thinking that you've done exactly what I did? You signed up for Ironman without ever doing a triathlon before?
Yeah, dead right. Dead right. Call it a midlife crisis. I hit 50 last year, and I decided I was going to challenge myself to do something. I could have gone down the sports car route or something like that, but I thought, no, let's do something that's really going to challenge myself. I know a number of the lads from Tour de Gales have already done Ironman Wales, so I said, yeah, give it a go. I used to do a lot of running years ago, but I haven't really done much for a long, long time. Cycling would be my strength at the moment. Swimming, definitely not. That would be my weakest discipline. And run, I did Cardiff half marathon back in October last year, so that was kind of my build up. I was aiming towards that, and that's when I said, yeah, go on, I'll do Ironman next year.
Yeah, I laugh at it, right? Because you've done exactly what I did. And I remember the conversation with Rachel, my wife, right? And I said, I signed up for Ironman, and it was that excitement. And then, so that would have been around the September time, when the places opened up for the following year. And it got to about, I don't know, February, and she went, do you think you should do a triathlon before you do an Ironman? And it was just like, yeah, shit, maybe I should. And so I ended up doing a half Ironman as my first, and I did the Cotswolds. Rich, I don't know if you've done Cotswolds, but it's a lovely flat sort of course. It's a lake swim. The bike was amazing. And I came off that bike averaging about 21, 22 miles an hour. And I was thinking, this triathlon malarkey is easy. How fast I went on the bike. And then I had a massive rude awakening for Ironman Wales. Literally, because it's not flat at all. Not at all. But Dad, you were training to date then, because I asked Rich that question. How had it gone? You said you were looking at the swimming element of it, and you're trying to improve that. How about the rest of it?
Well, I went out and bought myself the book, the Don Fink training plan. So I customized my plan slightly. So I was looking at the just finisher for the swimming.
Yeah.
But I was quite confident that on my cycling and my run, I'd be okay. So I've been working along the competitive one. And in fairness, the swimming was going okay. I wasn't really doing the distance I wanted to do. But that's been massively impacted now because all the beaches are closed. I can't even go sea swimming. I'm only 2-3 miles away from the sea anyway. And the fact that the pools are closed, I was going to You know, I was going to risk it and go in the sea and try a bit of that on the calmer days. That's all gone out the window now. The cycling, I'm reliant on using Swift and the turbo indoors, because again, the lockdown here at the moment is we're restricted to 2 kilometers from home, unless it's it's essential travel, which we can't. Running's okay. I'm still doing quite a bit of running, but I can do loops from where I am and go in a 2 mile circumference, and that's fine. That's working okay.
And this is something that Rich probably would know. So Darren's based over in Ireland, and they've got a restriction over there that you can only go a couple of kilometers away from your house.
Yeah.
So
it makes it a nightmare. I mean, I'm not going out on the bike outside, even though I could. I've made a personal decision not to do that. I'm running outside, but I'm not cycling.
Is that around sort of like impact in case you came off the bike that might have on health services?
Yeah, I had a bad crash in 2016 and had to have shoulder reconstructive surgery, and I know the strain that I ended up going to A&E, and I've got a number of mates that have had crashes, no fault of their own, actually, any of them, but 5 or 6 friends that have ended up in A&E, dogs running out or whatever, drivers. And I think there's enough strain on the NHS, and you've got some amazing technology out there like Zwift and stuff, that I don't want to be the guy that ends up in Leica and A&E having to take up a ventilator that is probably needed for someone else, right? So, but it's a personal choice. You're allowed to, but I'm just thinking I don't need to, so I'm not going to. I'm still running outside, but it's hard when the weather's glorious and you just want to be out on your bike, just knocking out the miles. But I think there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of miles, and it's difficult because we're all passionate about it. We want to get out there. We want to exercise mentally and physically. It's important to all of us, but I suppose you've got to do what you feel is right for you as well.
I definitely had that moment because it's a bank holiday weekend while we're recording this podcast, and the amount of people that have passed me on, the weekend riders or even just those that are training for Ironman or something, they're passing you on the bike. You think, all right, they're off up the road into the valleys, up doing some mountain routes or what have you, and you get so envious of it. But at the same time, I'm similar to you, that I made a bit of a decision, partly because of injury, but partly because I didn't want to put that strain on sort of the NHS at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think I'm ending up in a place where I was very determined to have a good season. There's bigger and more important things, and I'm going to continue training. I'll do a few marathons this year and then a few ultras or whatever, but that's just standard for me. But I'm thinking that Ironman, I'm more than likely going to defer. I just don't think it's going to be the same experience. I don't think I'm going to get the training in, and even if it does go ahead, which is still an if at this moment in time, I think social distancing and that whole experience might be very, very, very different. So I'm thinking I'll just defer it to 2021 and do it then. But I haven't quite made my mind up, but I think that's likely.
Well, what do you think you'll do, Rich? Do you think you'll wait for some more information from government, some more information from Ironman Wales as regards to your options before you make that decision?
I'll probably also see how the conversations go with the missus. She's putting up with me training, but with the kids at home, and that's what we've got to do, right? We all have to make sacrifices and change our habits and stuff. And frankly, if the biggest sacrifice I have to make is just deferring a race until next year, look at the situation. This is, unprecedented. So if that's the biggest thing I've got to do, but it keeps that balance, that means that I can go on to my ultimate goals, because I've got a happy home life as well, then it's probably worth doing that rather than pushing on regardless.
So why did you choose Ironman Wales as your A race? Was it because of the 10-year anniversary, or was it just what happened?
I did. So my race strategy was do Wales as my first one in 2018, because it's hilly and hard, but I was confident I could complete it. Then I did Hamburg because it was pancake flat, and so I knew I'd get a PB. So guaranteed PB followed by guaranteed PB. Now I'm thinking build to then go back and PB the course in Wales.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thinking. So that was the logic. And it works. Living in South Wales, it's logistically easier than going over to Germany or Spain or anywhere else and doing one. You just throw the bike on the back of the car and you can go down there, sort of thing.
It's so easy though, isn't it? And we are very fortunate that, you know, we chuck our kit in the back of the car and within 90 minutes, we can go and do a recce of the course. You know, you've driven there in 90 minutes. You can do the full loop, big loop, small loop, or you can do variations of it. But that bike course, yeah, it's so accessible if you live in South Wales. And, you know, and Darren, you're from South Wales originally, so you know the area, and no doubt you can probably just nip over on the ferry anyway.
Yeah, well, that was part of my plan for the year, for the training. I planned a number of weekends where I was going to come over and just purely ride the course. You know, I travel over Friday night after work, book into a B&B, ride it out on the Saturday, and then do the same again on the Sunday, and then get the ferry back to Ireland. Just for familiarity with the course itself.
I think that's important. That's really important to, you know, particularly people doing their first one. The more that you can take out the unknown, the easier the event actually is. So if you can do things like a sea swim event, or if you can recce the bike course, the thing that I found weird in the first one, and this is coming as someone who's done, I've done 50 marathons now, but I found the marathon really hard because it was laps, and because I didn't know where I was. Like, someone would overtake me, or I'd overtake someone, and I didn't know if I was going too slow, too fast. Whereas if you're doing a normal marathon, if I go past someone, I know I'm ahead of them, and that just messed with my head. And that was something in the first one. It sounds strange, but in the first Ironman, that was something I'd never experienced before, and I just, because it's such a mental game, I did find that a real kind of a real challenge, and I thought I was doing worse than what I actually was, and it just really messed with my mind so much.
Yeah, the whole idea of 4 loops of the same course is a bit strange. You know,
it's a hell of a course though, unbelievable. I love it because it's a hilly. If it was flat, I think I'd hate it. But the fact that it's hilly, I strive on hills anyway. You know, that's my strong point. But that run route, yeah, if that was flat, I wouldn't go back to do Ironman Wales again.
The run route in Hamburg was flat, but the issue we had there was the heat. So living in South Wales, I'm not used to temperatures in the 30s consistently, right? So I cooked on the bike, and then I absolutely roasted on the run. It was unbelievable, 30 plus degrees, you know. So it's a long day in the saddle and running.
Yeah. So Dar, where are you as regards to your thoughts on what you're going to do this year for Ironman Wales?
I've already deferred.
When did you make that decision, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably 3rd week into the lockdown over here. I figured it's not going to get any better for the foreseeable future. We've now gone to lockdown till at least the 5th of May. And at that point, things are only going to open up slowly, I would imagine anyway. So in reality, I've probably lost 2 to 3 months by the time everything comes back to what it was, what it should have been, of training, of proper training anyway. It's certainly on the swim side for myself. And that's just too big a hurdle for me.
I think there's more and more. I know several guys that have made that decision already. And for me, then it just changes the experience.
Yeah.
Because part of it, if I was to carry on and do it, and the field is half the size of what it normally was, and they happen to put it on and it's half the size, it's not the same experience because you've got half the spectators and clubs don't come. And so it kind of, that affects it as well. My only nervousness with deferring, I think it's 2 things. One, I'll be gutted if it goes ahead and I don't do it, because I've got like an 18 medal, a 19 medal, and I want a 2020 medal, which is very superficial, but there we are. So I think there's that element, but also I'll use up my deferral. So if I happen to get injured next year, then I don't have an option to defer it. Whereas if Ironman defer it, then, and I get injured, I could potentially defer it again next year. They're the only reasons.
You are right though, because from a spectating point of view, Ironman Wales is definitely up there with regards to the other triathlons that I've gone to, because you've got that looped sort of marathon, because you've got the bike route which goes through so many little villages and which are accessible if people want to go out and sort of spectate on the course. Plus the sea swim is unbelievable. Dad, have you been down to watch? Yeah, Ironman.
I went down last year. Yeah.
So at the very beginning, you swim on North Beach in Tenby, and it just feels like the whole of Tenby is watching above you, because they're up on the town level watching down, and it's unbelievable. And then my first Ironman Wales I did in just shy of, I think it was 14 hours 45 or 46 or something like that. So it wasn't the speediest, but when I got to the evening and the crowds had dispersed a little bit, the crowds that were left were like a normal race in the sense of their numbers. It was unbelievable, and that's what gets you through, the actual event. It's something. It's magical. And anyone listening to the podcast, if you hadn't been to an Ironman Wales event to watch, go down and watch it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that's a spectacle, and as you say, it really makes a difference to you as a competitor. My only two experiences in triathlon at that level, obviously, been Hamburg and Wales. And whilst Hamburg was decent support in the middle of the town, when you're going out on a bike, some of it was fast, so it was a great experience, but there was nowhere near the level of support that you have at Wales.
I just remember on Wales, and there's a couple of infamous hills. One of them being you got Saundersfoot Hill, and it's like a scene from the Tour de France.
Oh, it is.
You got people either side of you that you literally got like a meter to get up the space. Everyone's there with cowbells, and there's music playing. There's people cheering you on. It's unbelievable. And all I could think of when I was going up the hill twice on the loops is don't fall off, and just look strong. I remember going through Wiseman's Bridge, and again there's a hill there that's not the nicest. And I remember coming down thinking, right, I got Saundersfoot coming up, Heartbreak Hill they nickname it, and I thought, right, you've got to try and look strong. All your supporters are going to be there, a number of people, including my wife, and I thought, right, save something just a little bit back, because I need to look strong going up there. And you go up the hill, and it's, well, Rich, what is it? Maybe it's not even 200 meters, maybe not even that. But then it turns around the corner, but you continue to climb for about another mile from there.
Yeah.
But that first initial climb,
that's the kick.
It's steep, but you think, right, I gotta look strong. I gotta look, sort of professional going up there. And you turn the corner, no one's looking, and you just go, oh. That's when you start breathing.
I absolutely blew up on that. If you go onto YouTube and you look at Ironman Wales 2018, just watch. I think it's the first 2 minutes. And there's a shot coming up Heartbreak, and it's me coming out of the saddle, giving it full beans on both laps. There's some friends of mine on the corner, and I just absolutely gassed it. But coming out of the saddle, really like proper sprinting, and then thinking, geez, I've got to go round again, and then I'm probably going to have to do that again. And I totally blew up. But I made the opening credits for Ironman Wales 2018. It's on YouTube. It was on the Channel 4. So that's my sporting. I could retire now. That's my highlight.
That's fair play to you, in fairness.
Yeah.
So
you want to get a screenshot of that?
I'll send it to you. I've got it. I've screen grabbed it. Yeah, but it's on YouTube. It's the 2018 highlight. It's me dying, going up Heartbreak. But like you were saying about it being trying to describe it, the best way I've described it is it's like the Tour de France combined with a stag party, combined with a London Marathon. You put all of those sort of three things together, and you've got that kind of, fancy dress, crowd, atmosphere, emotion, but the sportingness of kind of London Marathon. So,
yeah, no, it's great.
It's some experience.
So I got to be honest, even going down to watch the start of the Ironman Wales last year, the atmosphere, I was fortunate enough to be on the beach, be able to get a decent spot on the beach, very close to the start. And of course you had the national anthem first and foremost, and then Thunderstruck. And I thinking, wow, I had goosebumps thinking, I'm doing this next year. It'll be me next year coming on this beach. And the thought of it was just immense, Obviously I've deferred now till 2021, but I'll be going down this, if it's on this year now, which we don't know yet. I'll be going down to watch and support anyway. But personally, I don't think I would be ready for this year now, not with the lack of training on the swimming side.
Yeah. I'm assuming both you guys have got your accommodation sorted beforehand, because that's another challenge in itself, is trying to get accommodation.
Yeah, I've got accommodation at the moment, which is actually on the run course in the middle of Tenby. So nice. you run past the front door of the house, which is on the same street as where I stayed previously. So it's been brilliant because my kids can sit out, watch, and then when they're bored, they can go back in, but they know roughly when I'm going to be coming back again. And so it just works as a base.
And I think if you've done Tenby before, either spectated it or you've competed, you just get to know all those little shortcuts, not shortcuts in the course, of course, but those little things that just make your life a little bit easier as a spectator.
Yeah, it's knowing it, but it's like we were saying earlier about the more unknowns or things that you're not familiar with that you can kind of take out of the equation.
Yeah,
the easier it becomes to some extent, because you don't have that. Well, what about that? So if you're bringing family down, having somewhere where they're going to be, and they know what you're going to be wearing and what side of the road you're going to be on or whatever, it just means, because family put a lot into being able to do it.
It's a long day for the family. It's an awful long day for the family.
To be honest, it's a long season.
It is, yeah.
And the effort that you put into something like Ironman, if you haven't got a understanding family behind you, it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's tough. And those that do it with my kids are a little bit older now, but still quite young. But ones that your kids kind of age, Andrew, it's it's even harder, isn't it?
Well,
just trying to balance all of that.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I haven't done an Ironman since Emily was born, and that was 18 months, 2 years ago. So it's I couldn't do it at the moment. I wouldn't have the time.
My goal for this season, previously after Hamburg, my goal was to do a double Ironman. Was the goal for this year, for 2020. But I just couldn't get the training volume with work and family. I think physically I can do it, because I'm not the quickest, but I'm decent at endurance. But I just can't create 25 hours a week of training time.
No, that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's being able to put the hours in and the training in. And for me, my mindset was just keep enough in the tank for when you get off that bike, that you got to know it's a full marathon to do yet. And just plod along. It's in my own head. I'm only racing against myself. I'm not racing against anybody else. And that was my mindset from day one.
And I don't know, Rich, if you were the same, but my first Ironman was definitely the same. My thinking was, I'm against the clock. That was the only thing. I don't care if I'm 16 hours and 59 minutes. All I want is just to get under 17 hours. And if you broke it down, I knew individually I could do it. But at no point did I ever put that distance together before. And that's when it gets a little bit.
Yeah, I was confident, because I was going in, swim time. I think I ended up doing 1:11 for the swim, something like that. 111, 112, and my marathon PB is 346. So, you know, and you can't necessarily put that in the context of an Ironman, but you just know that, okay, I've got the running ability. I'm normally around 4 hours, 4:15 for a marathon. You know, I know I can do the swim in 1:15, so I've got plenty of time to do the bike.
Yeah.
But psychologically, you're still thinking, can I do this, and how does it all fit together?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, moving on to sort of like, you know, going back to COVID and where we are, what's the comms been like from Ironman Wales?
I think it's been fair enough, to be honest. I think it's such a long way away. I mean, they know as much as we do, right? And at the moment, we don't know. So make your own call, and I think that they've been fair enough.
Because Ironman Island has been cancelled. Darren might know a bit more of this, but Cork has been cancelled, hasn't it?
Yeah, all events up until the end of June have been cancelled by Triathlon Ireland.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, they've all been cancelled. So no events at all till the end of June.
And what are they doing about it though? Are they looking for a new date, or are they just cancelling it full stop for this year?
I haven't heard. I haven't heard if it's being put back later in the year or trying to or there's just no communication on that as yet.
Okay.
And a few lads I know that I signed up for it. They haven't said there's been a change in date or anything yet.
I think there's a lot that everyone's trying to cram. So I was supposed to be doing like a half Ironman as a warm-up event, and they initially deferred it till September. And then I think most people said, well, hang on, everything seems to be getting deferred to September. So then they changed their mind and then ended up deferring it for a year instead, and saying, look, a lot of people were either like me doing it as a warm-up for Wales, so there's no point in deferring it after Wales because it's supposed to be a warm-up event. So, or all races are getting crammed into the sort of September, October window, and whether they're marathons or triathlons or whatever. And so I think a lot of them, they're just going to have to end up moving them because they just won't get the number of people that are able to do it. It's not going to work.
The reason I ask that question around comms is because Ironman Wales have sort of, not Ironman full stop actually, have said on a number of occasions that they're sort of using like a 50-day rule. So within 50 days of the event, they will tell you what the plan is.
Yeah.
And then I've seen a lot of people complain online, 50 days isn't enough time to get Ironman fit. And I was thinking, well, you should be training for this event as if it was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Not wait until a decision and then bloody train for it.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough sort of time frame. They've said, no nearer the event than 50 days. So they could make the decision sooner. But the deferral is 45 days. So if they say with 50 days to go, yes, it's going ahead, and you decide, actually, I don't want to, you can still defer it then because you've got up to 45 days beforehand to defer it.
Yeah.
So actually, I thought they would possibly wait until nearer the event, and then they would rely on people deferring it.
You make a good point.
I think it's fair enough. But it's the small. I'm not worried for Ironman. I'm actually more worried for smaller event companies that have been putting on small triathlons or small events and build up because they haven't got the cash to survive this.
No.
And everyone's saying, "Oh, give me my money back. Give me my money back." If you do that, that event will go. That company will go bust, and that event won't exist anymore. So,
because there's been quite a lot of that online, you really feel for race directors because they would have spent money already, whether that being put in deposits down on venues or facilities or what have you, insurances, and a lot of these insurances do not cover active COVID.
No.
So it's fine, but there's a big sort of hoo-ha online about long course weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't know if either of you had signed up for long course, but a lot of people were not happy with what they suggested to begin with.
They backtracked a bit on that, though, haven't
Yeah, they've come back and they've offered a partial refund, and I think is it something like 40% or whatever, and then priority booking for next year.
Yeah.
Which it's good that they've listened to people, but a lot of people, it's an event that started off quite small, and long course weekend I think came before Ironman Wales, and it's grown and grown and grown, and then just all of a sudden in the last couple of years it's gone quite an expensive event. And I understand it, they've got closed roads now on it, but if you signed up for the full long course weekend experience, that's costing you something like 200 quid these days, I think.
A bit more than that, yeah. 300 and something, I think.
Oh wow, is it?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, a couple of years ago you could sign up for all 3 events, and I think it was something like 160 quid, and they were 40 quid individually or something like that. So you're paying about 30 quid extra, 40 quid extra for that experience. But like, wow, that has gone up that much.
Yeah, I think there's different levels. I'm not doing it. I've done it the last 2 years, or various parts of it. So I've done the swim the last 2 years, or 3 years. I've done the bike the last couple. But I'm not. I actually had decided not to do it this year, only because it's generally the weekend around my daughter's birthday, and which is why I've not been able to do all 3 parts of it.
Yeah.
So I've just been able to fit in around birthday celebrations, and I said this year, you know what, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to actually be around for the full weekend on her birthday, sort of thing. So I'm quite glad I didn't sign up for it. Save me a few quid. It is a very good event, and it's one, again, to the point earlier about taking the unknown out. It's a great one to experience something like the swim, just the long course swim.
Yeah.
But there's other ones that you can do.
But
I didn't see those build-ups happening,
Yeah.
so people aren't going to be able to get used to those things, because I don't think they'll actually happen.
I'm quite fortunate here in the fact that there's a local triathlon club in Dungarvan, which is literally 5 miles from where I live, and it's on the coast. And during the season, they'll have the boys out in the sea, so I'll be able to do some open water sea training. That again, but that's all been delayed. So I was looking forward to actually doing that and getting out, and that was all part of my training program, but that's gone. But you mentioned long course weekend there. I was thinking about doing that initially, just to get the sea swim in, just to get it under my belt. Again, like yourself, I got something else on that weekend, so I didn't sign up for this. But it would have been good. But yeah.
It's definitely an event that if you're thinking about doing Ironman Wales and you're not familiar with the area, it's definitely something to sign up for. So
yeah. It's about getting that build up and things, but hopefully we'll be able to get some sea swimming in and some things over the summer. But I guess the priority at the moment is getting through this very strange situation, and just thank God that we've got technology like Zwift and stuff that we can jump on and do these rides and some of those things. And okay, you can't do the swimming, but I did a half marathon last weekend, and then I've been doing up to 100k on the bike, so on Zwift. So you can keep your training going.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just the swim.
Swimming is the awkward one for me, as I said, and yeah.
So with regards to the rest of the year, obviously, is it literally on hold for you guys then, and it's just waiting and seeing, or are you, that you've already deferred? So will you look to do any races maybe September time, and then build into next year?
Yeah. Now, as I mentioned, the local club here, they have something actually the weekend after Ironman Wales. Initially, I wasn't going to do that, but now I'll sign up for that one. That's Olympic distance, so that'll get me out and about there. I've been looking at a couple of sprint ones just to get something under my belt, a simple one under my belt. Short distance, get used to a transition more than anything else. But the training is giving me plenty of off the bike straight into a run, and I'm getting used to that. But as you say, I would have loved to have done an event or two, in the build-up to Ironman Wales. That's not going to happen now because I deferred, but I will still do 1 or 2 events anyway, just to keep me tied over type thing.
Yeah.
I've
got Newport Marathon, which has been deferred, so I'll do that. I'm probably going to do the Gower 50-mile run, so I'll do that one in October. I'm not sure about triathlon. It might just be a write-off from a races perspective, because I think so many have been deferred. I'm not sure what events, and I don't really want to go signing up for things now because they might not happen still. So I had nothing after from a triathlon perspective. You've got to think, I think there's a Gower one in around October time, so depending if the spaces, I might jump on that. But me and a couple of lads, we're talking about potentially just organising one and just doing it.
Oh, wow.
So, just get half a dozen of us. We can use my garage as a transition. So, we can swim in the Taff. Yeah. So we can just do a couple of lengths of that. And then come back to the house, jump on the bikes, go for a decent bike ride, come back, and then transition that. So just make it up. He said, you never know. We just knock up some t-shirts and we'll just have it as our own little event, just 6 or, not a proper event, but just so that we've done something.
Yeah. Well, when I was when I was training for 2016 Ironman Wales, we did that. Me and a couple of mates, including Martin from running, Martin Lewis. Yeah. So literally swam in the Taff. I think we drove to Martin's house, got the bikes out, rode together, and then came back, and then we did a run, and it was good fun.
Yeah, you just want to do something, and part of it, like, why do we do this? We do it because it's fun, right? And to challenge yourselves, and look, if proper events can't go on, but one of my other buddies was supposed to be doing Ironman as his first Ironman, but he's been quite seriously ill, so he's had to defer for this year. He's never done a triathlon before, and Ironman was going to be his first one, and up until even 3 weeks ago, he was still hoping to do it. Yeah. So we were saying, right, okay, we might just do that event just so that we've done something as an experience for the season. So,
cool.
A few ultras, a few marathons.
And of course, we'll have Tour de Gals this year. Hopefully.
Tour de Gals, yeah.
It goes ahead.
I understand that we've got some monster hills again.
There's always hills. So Reese, who organises it, he who does the route, I swear he just looks for the biggest hills in Wales. That's his Google, biggest hills in Wales, and then does the route around whatever he can find.
He'll take you 20 miles off a straight route to somewhere, to point A and point B, to find a hill, take you up it, and bring you back down again.
Well, we were supposed to be going to the Alps cycling. I normally go to Mallorca in March, but this year we decided to do something different. Actually, last year we went to Tenerife, and 2 or 3 years before that has always been Mallorca. We decided we were going to do the Alps, so we're going to do Alpe d'Huez, and that's in June. It's not officially been deferred, but frankly, that's not going to happen. Yeah. But if we can, we're saying that we might do like Wales in 2 or 3 days, and maybe do the coastal route. So go kind of like Snowdon, Cardigan kind of area, round and then head back to Cardiff around the coastal route. So,
cool.
Try and do something like that, maybe. We'll see what we're allowed to do.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's the thing. Unfortunately, so many events have been cancelled. I was coming over for the Car 10. I was looking at the Tour of Pembroke as well as just 2 cycling events. Yeah. They've all gone.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. If you ever want to come on a future podcast, please let me know, because always looking for people to. It's better than me just speaking on my own, that's for sure. But yeah, thank you very much. We will catch up with you again soon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, Rich. Take care. Take care, mate.